So one of my pet peeves is when someone experienced in a specific hobby, like in this case, wood carving, tells beginners that they have to get the best and most expensive equipment to get started. I've experienced this for 20 years while playing paintball and had to fix so much damage from like tournament players trying to tell kids and their mothers that you have to spend well over $1,000 just to do basic recreational play. This is not true. It's not true in wood carving at all either. I see it all the time, and it just creates this unnecessary and massive barrier to entry, resulting in only allowing like maybe 1 to 2% of the people who actually want to get into wood carving to actually start it. So it really does hamper the amount of people that actually join in on the specific hobby, or in this case, wood carving. And of course, the goal of this channel is to help people get into wood carving and see it as an available hobby that they don't need it to drop a ton of money just to get in. And of course, those who wish to continue in and want to experience more and get nicer equipment can go and drop more money on the nicer tools. But of course, you don't need to drop hundreds of dollars to get in. You can just get like the basic starter equipment just to experience it, see if you like it, and then grow your tool base. And even then, it's like companies like Pfeil, well, even though they have the really nice expensive set, like this is a 12-piece O'Brien set, I don't know how to say it, but it's like $500. I love it to death. It is literally one of my favorite wood carving sets I have. But even Pfeil knows this, and they create these little 3-piece beginner or intermediate sets for like $100. Gives you exactly what you need, and you can experience wood carving without having to drop a ton of money, which is it's absolutely wonderful, and I appreciate them for actually doing this. But even then, there are differences between different brands. Even though like these two companies, they look almost identical to each other. Pfeil Tools versus the Schaaf Tools here. Schaaf Tools is maybe like a fifth of the price compared to the Pfeil Tools. They look almost identical, but there are some differences in like with the tools and whatnot, and fit and finish. So let's go over a couple of quick things here that kind of like separate the different classifications of tools. All right, so quality of the tools. We've all heard the saying cheap, good, fast, and you have to pick two of those, right? Well, I think there's an equivalent to wood carving, and they are sharp, consistent, and cheap. Pick two. So if you want consistent and sharp, they probably won't be cheap like the Pfeil sets. This is going to be your primarily like your high-end tools and really nice quality stuff. If you want consistent and cheap, they are unlikely to be sharp. These are like your dirt cheap tools that you're going to see, like the copycat stuff you're going to see at Harbor Freight, and also like the knockoff stuff that we see littered all over Amazon. And if you want cheap and sharp, there will be some fit and finish and consistency issues. Like Schaaf Tools, it's not exactly high end, but they come sharp and they are affordable. So this, I think, what is this? This is the 7-piece set. I think this is less than $100 for this entire set. It's not necessarily amazing, but if you're new and just trying to get into wood carving, this will get you covered for about 90% of it, your wood carving stuff. And then if somehow you find those unicorn tool companies that have all three, where it's nice and sharp, super consistent, and very affordable, you know that you're going to be having to sit there and wait for a long time, because there's probably going to be like a year wait list. Like even right now, I'm on the wait list for Drake tools and some other stuff as well. And Helvey knives, of course, right now they're dealing with some stuff, but they have a very long wait list as well. All right, so let's go over examples of each of those three classifications I gave you there. And I'm just going to cover the first one really quick. This is the cheap and consistent portion. And I say consistent is because the consistency is usually as consistently low quality. You're going to see these in your cheap copycat stuff, the stuff that's so cheap it's unbelievable. You're just going to find that the quality is very low. They're consistently dull, or they consistently have dinged and glinted edges on them. I personally avoid these, as to me they're a waste of money. Now, unless you know how to professionally sharpen them, you can actually make them worth your while, but they're not going to come anywhere near as sharp as any of these tools right here, and nowhere near as good as this. So let's just cover that right there. I usually just avoid those altogether. Now, the next one is just more the expensive tools. These are going to be under the sharp and consistent quality, just like Pfeil and whatnot. These are not going to be affordable, but there is a real noticeable difference in quality and usability if you're using it side by side with like that of Schaaf Tools or anything like that. These tools come in very sharp, have a nice straight cutting edge on them, great fit and finish, and are usually what you're going to end up with at the end if you're going to be actually doing a lot of carving. Common brands that you're going to see for this are like Pfeil, Two Cherries, Stubai, and even Deepwood Ventures. Expect to pay several $100s for like a small set like this one I said was $500, or you're going to probably be paying like $40+ for just each individual tool. In the end, it is worth it if you are really getting into it and using them a lot, but that's only like for those of you who are really, really into it. And then more beginner tools. This is where I point mostly to people who are just new to wood carving. And these tools will come sharp and at a much more affordable price, but there will be some sacrifices in manufacturing to keep the costs low, obviously. Some of these sacrifices you're going to see are like steel quality, might have a little bit more of a variance to it. Manufacturing processes that allow for tolerance issues, like you're going to see, like in some cases, like how they insert into the wooden handles. You're going to see that. You're going to see a little bit more rougher spots in some areas. Also on the edge here, sometimes the edges are a little bit wavy, not perfectly straight. Like you can see this corner is up a little bit higher than right next to it. That will happen, and it's honestly to be expected with the cheaper stuff. But even then, it's not going to stop you from learning how to carve with them. So still good tools to have if you're on a budget. Common brands that you're going to see in this are Schaaf Tools, FlexCut, Beavercraft, Krychek Carving Tools, and Mora. They're not the highest of the high, but they're also not the lowest of the low. They're that nice little sweet spot and balance in between that you can get in and not spend a lot of money. All right, so yeah, I know you guys are gonna ask me what tools to buy for different skill levels and different situations. So what I'm gonna do is put this list in the pinned comment below the video here, and this will allow me to keep the list updated if something new comes out, and if I run across something new that I haven't really played around with and I want to add to the list, then just share with you guys. Consider this a live list below the video here, so feel free to ask questions in the comments, and either I or someone else in the community will answer your questions for you. And as always, have a good day, and I hope you have fun carving.